stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Star Wars Canon Library. It's been a while since I had to say that. Usually we've been focusing on the podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and this is going to be a little bit of a shorter video. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background. I think it slowed down, but it's pouring rain where I'm at right now, and you can hear it on the roof of the house. So I don't know if you guys might hear a roaring at some point, but that's what that is. Please just try to ignore that as best you can. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We got a couple things I wanted to talk about tonight, and I kind of wanted to get some of y'all's input. If you guys are watching live, you can comment and let me know what you guys think. Kirsty and I touched a little bit on this on the podcast this week, but I wanted to kind of delve a little more in depth of some of the information that was released at New York Comic-Con concerning the new Canon material that they've just announced. So let's get into this a little bit. For those of you that don't know, at Comic-Con, they did announce that there's a slew of new Canon stuff coming, and some of it we already knew about, and some of it we didn't. So the stuff we knew about, I got it all lined up here, and like I said, this probably won't be a very long video, but I did want to try doing it live just so I could talk to you guys about this a little bit. So here we go. Let's just jump right into this. So one of the first things that they announced, or at least that I want to talk about, they did announce a while back, or I guess hasn't been that long. It's just been a week or two, hadn't it? That Marvel's going to be doing a 24-issue run of one-shots, each one kind of being centered around certain characters from different eras, the Age of Republic, Age of Rebellion, Age of Resistance, right? So we got some of the cover art, actually, for some of these first few issues. So I'm going to pull some of these up, and these are just the photos from the tweets of the people who were there that were putting them up. So forgive me, I haven't been able to find high-res versions of these yet. So the first thing I want to talk about were some of these covers from the Age of the Republic one-shots. We knew we were going to get Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Darth Maul, Jango Fett, and there's several other characters also. I think young Anakin's one of them, Queen Amidala. But I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. Thank God there's not a Jar Jar one. But anyway, but really the only thing to talk about here are the covers. And honestly, they look pretty cool. I mean, we haven't had a Qui-Gon we haven't had comics based off, I mean, we've had a Darth Maul run, right? And we've got Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir, but we've never actually had a one-shot kind of centered around this character. So it'd be kind of cool. And I just picked up my pull file from the comic shop last night, or night before last, sorry. And they were talking. One of the guys had an idea of, wouldn't it be cool if they did variants of some of these where every single issue kind of, you put them side by side and they all just slowly make this big, long, like panoramic picture, right? And I didn't even think of anything like that, but it would have been absolutely awesome if I hope they do a variant like that. Because if you look at the Darth Maul, I don't know how well you can tell right now on the video, but on the Darth Maul cover, it's him with his lightsaber, but he's got a blue saber coming in one side and a green saber coming in the other, like he's fighting Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. So it would have been really cool to have the Obi-Wan Qui-Gon covers kind of go side by side, you know what I mean, with the covers and make one massive picture. But alas, I don't think that's what they're doing. But so far the covers look really cool for these, and then they also gave us the covers, a couple of covers for the Age of Rebellion, which we're getting a Princess Leia one-shot and a Darth Vader one-shot, which we'll talk about Vader a little bit later, a little more. We'll talk about Vader a little later. See what I did there? But we'll touch on Vader a little more. But some of these covers look really great. They look really, really great. And I think my neighbor's revving his engine up. I bet you guys can hear that, can't you? I'm so sorry. But so far, and they're using the same logos as what they did from their respectable 5-issue runs. As far as Leia goes, I wasn't a fan of the Leia 5-issue run, but this one, if it's a one-shot and if it looks gorgeous. The artwork for the Leia run was one of the biggest problems with it, and this looks absolutely great. So I hope it turns out to be great. And then I think this whole series is launching in December. I think it is. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a lot of fun reading these. It really is. And then, alas, all good things must come to an end. This is the other thing I really wanted to talk about. And I didn't know about this until we were doing the podcast live on Saturday night. And Kyler Knowles wrote in and asked what I thought of the Vader run ending. And I didn't know anything about it, so I looked it up real quick. And sure enough, it is ending at issue 25. This is the panel they made the announcement at. And it's gut-wrenching, to be completely honest. It sucks because this is by far by far the absolute best comic series they've ever done for Star Wars. This is including everything EU that I've read. This is including, I mean, literally everything. This Vader run is bar none the absolute best that Lucasfilm has to offer with Marvel. That I mean, that's all there is to it. If you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. But this Vader run, it's ending at issue 25 the same way the original Vader run ended, which is kind of interesting. But it does suck. But you know, I mean, it can only go for so long before it starts running into other material, right? So I take it for what it is. I'm excited, and I think the final issue. I think I looked it up. I think it's December 19th is the final issue of Vader. So keep an eye out for that. And then I mean, the cover art for that is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know how well you can see it. Oh, I guess it's this way, isn't it? I don't know how well you can see it on the screen, but if you find a blown up version of this and you look at this cover art, it's gorgeous, man. I'm so excited to keep reading this comic and to see how this series is actually going to end. But that doesn't mean we're not getting any more Vader stuff. They also announced I guess is this a set of one shots? I don't know exactly what this is, but it's called Shadow of Vader. This is a new comic series that's coming. I think it's a 5-issue run, actually, now that I think about it. But it's a 5-issue run of other people's points of view of Vader. So they're telling stories of Vader, but from other people's point of view. So we could revisit some classic stuff here. Maybe, you know, I mean, one of the covers shows Vader on Bespin at the table. You know, let's see him setting the table, you know, from, I don't know, Boba Fett's point of view or something like that. There's a lot of potential for this run, and it kind of amazes me. It's only 5 issues. I really kind of hoped that it would be more than that. So, but yeah, it's going to be coming out very soon, and I guess it's going to be replacing the other Vader ongoing comic, which, man, it's such a kick in the nads that comic is ending. It absolutely is a gut punch. It really, really is. But moving on from comics, that's really all the comic news that they had. And as far as this panel, I'm not focusing on everything that was talked about in that panel, just the stuff that pertains directly to canon. So just keep that in mind. But moving from comic books on to novels, let's see here. We got a new announcement for a new novel, and I didn't see this one coming. But it was Alphabet Squadron. And this is one, it's Alexander Freed, who also wrote the novelization of Rogue One, and he also wrote the first Battlefront novel. He's writing this novel called Alphabet Squadron, which I read up a little more about it. I didn't know anything about it when we did the podcast on Saturday night, but now I've read up a little bit, and it takes place after Return of the Jedi, and it's 5 rebels, each with different starships, going off and hunting down ex-Imperials, like former Imperials, right? So that sounds awesome. That sounds absolutely just insane cool. So that's one I'm really, really looking forward to. And to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Alexander Freed. I'm not saying he's a horrible author. Don't get me wrong. I like the stuff he wrote. It's just I'm not sure if I don't know. See, like the first Battlefront novel was kind of slow for me at first. And then it finally picked up. And then the Rogue One novelization was essentially just a novelization. They really didn't add a whole lot to it. But I guess if they want dark, gritty war, they're going to Alexander Freed. He's the one writing that. So I am excited for this book. I can't wait to pick it up. I think it's going to be absolutely great. And then obviously the other novel that they decided to talk about and focused on and actually gave us some cover art for is Master and Apprentice. This is a book I am so stupidly excited for, and it comes out in 6 months. I don't know if I can wait 6 months for this book. It's written by Claudia Gray, which a lot of you who have been watching know that I'm a huge Claudia Gray fan. Absolutely love Claudia Gray. I consider her the queen of Star Wars canon. You know, Timothy Zahn is the king. I consider Claudia Gray the queen of Star Wars canon. So I'm really excited about this book. For those of you that don't know, this book is based. I don't know. I shouldn't say it's based. This book came into being because Claudia Gray wrote a short story From a Certain Point of View, and it was called Master and Apprentice. And it took place during A New Hope. Obviously, everything from a certain point of view did, but it takes place during A New Hope when Obi-Wan is waiting for Luke to come back to the Sandcrawler, still on Tatooine, and Qui-Gon comes to him as a Force ghost, and it kind of goes through how the Force ghosts are, materialized and how they take form and everything. And it's Qui-Gon talking to his old Padawan, and Qui-Gon knows that Obi-Wan's going to die soon. And it's absolutely, It's a great, great little story, and I'm so glad that they decided to have Claudia Gray write a novel called Master and Apprentice. And it's a Qui-Gon Obi-Wan story if you hadn't figured it out from the cover, but it does take place pre-Phantom Menace. So this will be the first novel we've had, the actual first kind of really getting into the story novel that's pre-Phantom Menace. We've had, a few issues of the Star Wars comic that ran before Phantom Menace. The Darth Maul 5-issue run happens, before Phantom Menace. So this will be the first time we have a novel pre-Phantom Menace, and I'm really, really excited about it. But I can't wait. But this is a lot of the stuff that they talked about during the panel. They also talked a lot about this series. I think it's a series of books that's coming out, The Women of Star Wars. They're focusing on 75 different female characters in Star Wars. To be completely honest, and I don't mean to sound sexist by saying this, I didn't know that there were 75 female characters in Star Wars, to be completely honest. I really didn't. I mean, obviously you have the main names there, Leia, Rey, I mean, you have those names. But if you really start thinking about it, because they even were focusing on Enfys Nest getting her own little story. So that's happening also. Hey, I just saw the chat. Kyler Knowles is laughing. Dude, you tell me I'm crazy. It doesn't seem like there would be 75 female characters in Star Wars, but I guess there is. I don't know how far they're going to stretch for those, but hopefully it turns out pretty decent. And they said you got to pick them up if you're a Star Wars fan. I don't know if that's something. I don't mean to sound sexist saying that. I don't think I'm going to pick those up. Kirsty might. I don't know, but I right now I'm just focusing on just the canon stuff, So, but yeah, that's kind of what we have lined up. We didn't talk a whole lot about the comics during the podcast, so I kind of wanted to throw some thoughts out there. But Kyler says can name like 15 off the top of my head. I know I'm sure there's 75, but I guess what I meant was, I guess I didn't realize. I never really thought about it, but I guess it didn't dawn on me that there's 75. You know what I mean? So, looks like each of Padme's body doubles gets a story. Wouldn't surprise me with the way they're going. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think of all this new canon material coming out? What's the piece you're looking forward to the most? What's the piece you're looking forward to the less? To the least amount. I'm sorry. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts about that. Make sure to visit the website. It is no longer StarWarsCanonLibrary.com. It is now StarWarsCanonPodcast.com. Make sure to check out that website. We've got a list of upcoming canon there and a timeline as well. And make sure to check out the Patreon page. I'd love for you guys to check that out. And I know I haven't been doing the after shows like I said I was going to. And once my fall harvest is over, I'll be able to focus on that a lot more. So that is coming, definitely. But, oh, man, I had a brain fart for just a second. Make sure to check out the Facebook page as well. Just Star Wars Canon Library on the Facebook. And I'll be putting more notifications out on the Facebook page for live Q&As and stuff like that. And make sure to visit the Twitter also. It's just SW Canon Library. And also, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm using my phone right now as a live stream so I can see how the stream's going. But me and Kirsty went and got new phones yesterday, and I actually have a smartphone now because I had this little like piece of crap one, that like candy bar phone that I've been using, but now I've got this like insanely awesome, like nice phone, right? Which I never get. But I've made a wallpaper for it. So if you guys are interested in some cell phone wallpapers that say Star Wars Canon Library on it with the logo, let me know. Just email me at Star Wars Canon Library. Yeah, that's right. Star Wars Canon Library at gmail.com. Email me and let me know if you guys want one. So without further ado, I think I'm going to end this video. Like I said, we got some rain coming, some severe weather, so I wasn't going to talk for very long. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. And until next time, guys, this is Brian signing off. May the Force be with you.